let's take a look at some examples. So our first one says, identify the leading coefficient, degree, and the end behavior. So you can kind of just sketch the end behavior. So first I want the leading coefficient. So I can see that my polynomial is already in standard form, and my lead coefficient is the one in the front. So the lead coefficient is -3. My degree, I'm looking at the exponent. So my highest one is in the front also, and it is 5. Okay. And now I want to see, well, what is the end behavior? So I need to think about, do I have an even or an odd or a positive and a negative? So my coefficient is negative, and my degree is odd. So right away I know that they're going in opposite directions because the degree is odd. And it is negative, so I can actually go over to my table that I drew and I can see the odd degree and the negative coefficient, which was down here, and that one was going up on the left and down on the right. So my end behavior would be something like, up and then down. And then let's take a look at B. Well, this one doesn't look like it's in standard form. But I know I need the leading coefficient and the degree. So I could multiply this out. So I could say this is -2 times, well, x minus 1 squared is x minus 1 times x minus 1. And if I multiply these two together, I'd get x times x, which is x squared, x times -1, which is minus x. Then I go to my next one, -1 times x, it's -x, and -1 times -1, which is plus 1. When I combine my like terms here, I get x squared minus 2x plus 1. But I did not include the -2 that was multiplying on the outside, so I also should multiply this all by -2. So that makes -2x squared plus 4x minus 2. And now I can see clearly my leading coefficient, which is -2. And my degree, which is 2. And then my end behavior, I've got a negative leading coefficient, negative, and my degree is even. So that means I know they're going in the same direction because it's even, and since it's negative, then I know it's going down. So it should be something like down on both sides. I could also look at the table for it. Now notice too that maybe it wasn't necessary to multiply these out, because if I look, my leading coefficient is -2, which was here as well. And my degree was 2, which I found here. So when I actually multiply this out, I know it's going to be x squared. So you could skip this and just take it right from the beginning. That'd be fine. You could even graph it to confirm. And let's take a look at number 2. So identify whether the graph below is odd or even degree and positive or negative leading coefficient. So first, I'm just going to look at my graph, and this kind of looks like a cubic. I know they're going in opposite directions, so that tells me that my degree is odd because they're in opposite directions. And then my leading coefficient, well, it's going up and down. I could look in my table. I also know that I just did one like that right here, and that had a negative coefficient in the front. So that should be negative. So it's going up to the left and down to the right. Now for B, I can see that they're going in the same direction right now. So that tells me that the degree is even because they're both going up. And my coefficient Well, they're both going up, so that means it should be positive. I could get that from my table if I wanted to. So remember, in our table, we said that if it's even degree, they're both going up when it's a positive leading coefficient. And our last question, write two different equations of a function which could show end behavior looking like this. So decreasing to the left and increasing to the right. So let's see, well, they're going in opposite directions. So that tells me my degree should be odd. And it's going down and up, so I could look at my table. In my table, I'm looking for something that is going down and up. And that looks like it's over here. So an odd degree with a positive coefficient. Down, up. So my coefficient is positive. So I can make any equation as long as it has an odd degree and a positive leading coefficient. So I'm just going to call mine P of x. And let's see. Positive coefficient. How about positive 3? And an odd degree, how about x to the 5th? And I could put anything after this as long as this is my highest, because that's the degree of the polynomial. So let's just make up another one. How about f of x? Positive leading coefficient, how about 7? And an odd degree, how about this time we do cubic? So I can write anything after this. I can even just leave it like this. Either way is fine. So I'm gonna add something, how about -8? So I can write as many equations as I can come up with, but here's just 2 examples. All right, good luck.